It's time to join Huck and Dave for 1 hour of educational news and conversation. They will discuss the current events that you are not going to hear on the mainstream media. The left wants to silence our free speech and take away our liberties. Huck and Dave want to open up the lines of communication and allow you, our listeners, to speak about what America wants. Call Huck and Dave for open discussions at 504-556-9696, or you can reach them at libertyorlockdown.live. Now, let's go live and direct to Huck and Dave for Liberty or Lockdown.
Welcome back to Liberty or Lockdown. This is Huck.
This is Dave.
So, Dave, did you get to see yesterday's throwdown at the Oval Office with President Trump and the South African president?
Oh,
Yeah.
I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
Well, we have a clipping, so we want to make sure, and I think our producer has that pulled up already. And this gentleman, this president, denied that there was no, that they did not participate in killing, genociding white farmers. And Trump was the boss.
Well, I was in South Africa some years ago, and yeah, that definitely happened.
Well, we have South Africans who are refugees here, just so that they wouldn't pass away or die over there. They fled to America, and we welcome them. But for this president to deny that this white genocide occurred in the Oval Office was a very embarrassing moment for him, because now the videos, we're going to play the video that Trump should have played. Let's go ahead and play that real quick. This is the president. What's his name? Can you read it? Ramaphosa. Okay, go ahead. Turn it up.
The land of our forefathers and our foremothers must return to our people without any fail and without any payment of compensation. And it must happen now.
We're going to do that one more time. Play it again.
The question of land. The land of our forefathers and our foremothers must return to our people without any fail and without any payment of compensation. And it must happen now. It must happen
now. The land must be returned to our people.
Yeah,
without compensation.
The white people have been in South Africa for hundreds of years too.
Correct.
So, whether it's completely fair for them to have whatever, but he's saying, no, if you're white, you're not our people.
Yes. And so what President Trump did was he asked them fairly if there was white genocide for the farmers. And the gentleman, the president, denied it. He said that was propaganda from a candidate that was running against him. But clearly it's not propaganda, because clearly you all heard him say it himself. And I believe they returned back to their nation without any compensation. I think Trump pulled the funding.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a whole lot of killing going on, but I did hear when I was over there that there was a lot of land that was confiscated without compensation.
Well, according to people who live in South Africa, who there was a lot of killing. Not only were the white farmers killed, but the people who farmed the land were also killed. So there were black farmers that were killed too.
Yeah.
So it was just taking the land at whatever cost, killing whomever. And there's images you can go find yourself, and it's all there. So I think what Trump did that's why I voted for him.
He called them out. Huh?
He called them out. He did it in the Oval Office. And the thing is that they had their back to the video. So the lady sitting in the middle on the sofa and himself and that president, they didn't even turn around to go look to watch the video. And they had a smirk look on their face, like, just all of it. So I applaud. Trump is right. Trump was right about everything. Trump has been right. And, I'm thankful for President Trump, and I hope he continues to do what he's doing. He's definitely fighting for the American voters. He is definitely America first. And we applaud him and we thank him for what he's doing. He's working for us.
So what constitutes an African American?
You tell me.
That would be a person from Africa who is now an American. So all of these white guys, if they move here, they're going to be African Americans.
Oh, that's interesting, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm from New Orleans. I mean, you're from New Orleans. We're from here. And I was raised up. Okay, I was in a meeting the other day. Here's an example. And with some good friends of mine, we're working together, to protect the children. And I am not offended when somebody says white person.
Yeah.
And I never thought it was offensive if I said black person. I had never thought of it like I was being a racist if I said that. And I don't feel like they're a racist if they say white person. I'm not offended by that.
Well, I'm not really white. I'm kind of like peachy color.
You are very peachy.
Yeah.
So, I guess to each his own. I don't find it offensive and I don't find it racist at all.
Yeah.
If somebody identifies me as white, I am white.
Yeah.
But anyway, the whole woke thing to call every person, we're in the South here. Susie, we're in the South here. And I personally don't feel like I grew up in the middle of people hating each other because of the color of their skin. I've never encountered that as a child. Children just play. They just love each other. And, we don't play with somebody because of the color of the skin. We play with them because we want to play. Like as a child, you just play with somebody. And so I just don't feel like the South is as we've been coined. I don't feel that that's true. I think that that's not true. The South loves Jesus.
Yeah.
Southerners love the Lord more so than Northerners.
Isn't that strange?
Very strange. And so I think when you have Christ in your heart, Jesus is Lord. You love.
Yeah.
And you love unconditionally, or at least you try to love. There's some people that I'm working on trying to love, Dave.
Like me?
No, I love you,
Oh,
Dave.
okay.
You're a good co-host. You've been very faithful and loyal, Dave. And he does our websites. And don't forget to go to Liberty or Lockdown
.live.
and click that donate button. We could help use some help over here to fund our show. But yeah, it's been interesting to see President Trump. And, I saw on X, they were trying to say that Elon Musk's days are over. And I mean, they're going after Elon right now and making up stories and putting up false headlines. And I see people coming behind it and putting up other headlines and covering up the false headlines. And Elon Musk, I applaud you for everything you have selflessly done for America. I admit that prior to what you did here, I wasn't a big fan, simply because I guess I didn't know, and I judged this man without knowing him. But to see that what he's done with Doge, I absolutely respect and love him. It's been selfless, same as Trump.
Well, Trump pledged to secure the border, to do a lot of stuff. One of the things was to reduce the deficit. And people say, he hasn't reduced it. He's only been in for a couple of months. They haven't even passed the next budget bill. But the whole purpose of Doge was to try to reduce the deficit. Maybe not to eliminate it this year, but at least to reduce it. And there's a strong effort going on to do that.
Hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud, of money laundering. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter because it's factual.
Did you know that a lot of people are idiots?
A lot of people are idiots.
Yeah. When Musk got associated with Trump, the stock of Tesla plummeted into the toilet, and it was down to $220 a share.
But you weren't an idiot.
I bought 100 shares. It's up to $340.
That was brilliant.
Oh,
that was a good move, my friend.
yeah.
If I'd have had some extra cash, I'd have done it too.
Yeah.
So very great. So we're going to have a special guest calling it. We're going to call her in Guatemala, actually. She's a diplomat from Guatemala. We're going to talk about what's happening in America simultaneously is happening in Guatemala. But in the meantime, we have Susie Labrie, our legislative liaison. We're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take Susie, talk about what's happening in the House. A lot of good things are happening in the House and the Senate. And so we'll talk about that when we come back. This is Liberty or lockdown.
Finally stop, children, watch that sound. Everybody look what's going down.
If you're suffering with scalp irritation or inflammation of the scalp, maybe flaky scalp or loss of hair, there's a new treatment out there called CeraVe. Call Spot Isabel on Magazine Street, 504-595-5009. $3.99 per session. You'll need about 3 sessions. That's 504-595-5009. Spot Isabel.
Hey everybody, this is Mike from the Holy and Patriotic Jambalaya Show. If you need to convert your existing bathtub into a step-in shower, call my friends at A New Beginning Refinishing. They can repair and refinish any type of bathtub or shower, no matter the size of the repair. A New Beginning Refinishing has been using a new high-gloss casting porcelain coating guaranteed to never peel. They also offer a unique service called the Tough Cut, which is a fraction of the cost of replacement, and adding a grab bar installation and a slip-resistant surface helps to improve accessibility, reduce accidents, and helps people remain in their home as long as possible. Call A New Beginning Refinishing, LLC for a free estimate at 985-279-5103 or visit their website at www.anewbeginningrefinishing.com. Or you can visit their showroom in Polycrest Plaza at 600 North Highway 190, Suite 2 in Covington. That's A New Beginning Refinishing, LLC at 985-279-5103.
Tired of placing multiple calls to multiple vendors and getting the runaround? Turn to one resource who can get it done. Sir Speedy. We provide a wide spectrum of print, signs, and marketing services, all backed by more than 5 decades of experience. So when you need that new brochure, direct marketing campaign, or signage to promote your brand, give us a call at 504-586-9812 or visit us online at SirSpeedyNewOrleans.com. Everything you need, one resource, Sir Speedy.
Baldy on the Blonde.
Radical Radio for Radical Times.
Wednesdays at 4 on WGSO.
Follow us on X at Baldy Blonde.
That's not America.
Hello, this is David Jeremiah. Join me each weekday morning at 4:30 or 5:30 a.m. for Turning Point on the community voice of the Crescent City WGSO.
Don't get stuck in boring talk radio. Give it a much-needed splash of laughs and a little Southern Louisiana flavor with Implicit Bias Radio. I'm Kavan Bordelon. Join the crew and I each Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. as we give our thoughts on what's going down around the country. We'll crack open a fresh bottle of whiskey each week as we talk about what's swirling around in our heads and in the glasses. The Implicit Bias Radio Show, every Saturday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on WGSO 990 a.m.
Hi, this is Rusty, owner of the Olive Branch Cafe. Join me on Tuesdays at 4 for the Best Bank Hour on WGSO 990.
From the wackos on the left to the magas on the right, they know I'm beating Kamala. This race won't even be tied. Her policies are nuts, so she's out of.
All right. I definitely need to change this song because it's already
Been a while.
passed. I keep saying that, and I haven't done it yet because everything else is, I'm so busy. But anyway, it's still enjoyable. We did beat Kamala, and that's just a big mess, and thank God it's over. But all right. Well, we have Susie Labrie, our legislative liaison, on the line. Susie, you with us?
Oh, yes, I am. How are you?
Good. It's always good to hear your voice, and I can't thank you enough for being over there at the House and the Senate, fighting the bills and doing God's work and working for the people of Louisiana. So I know, you're part of our grid team, and we put a team together to protect the grid, Louisiana grid. I actually spearheaded that team and brought in 3 engineers, which we've had 2 of them on our show, Charles Smith and Deirdre Bruley. And then we also had Wayne LeGrand over at the Women's Republican Club in New Orleans, and he did a video for us. You can find that video on my X page at Martha Huckabee, Wayne LeGrand, and you really want to pay attention to that, Protect Louisiana Grid video. Listen to it, and also we have a link we're going to put on our page because we joined forces with Tommy Waller, who's the CEO of Center. What is it? I'm gonna have to look that up.
I can't.
I'll look it up. Dave, do me a favor. Google Tommy Waller and see what he's the CEO. The website he's the CEO of. I think it's Center for Policy, but I don't want to get that wrong. Waller, Waller. So he's at the House today with Susie LaBrie. He's been there last week. And we are fighting to protect the grid here in Louisiana because at the flick of a switch, they can hit us with an EMP. And that is not a conspiracy theory.
Center for Security Policy.
Center for Security Policy. What's the website? .org, .com, what?
.org.
.org. Center for Security Policy.org. And we'll put a link to our Louisiana Protect the Grid page. And so tell us about what's going on over there in Homeland Security Committee.
We had a Homeland Security Committee today, which was the second committee. The last one was September 26th in the House at room number 5. You see a video of that. You could also see a video this morning by going to the legislative website and looking up in the House video archives, or broadcast archives, and look up Joint Committee of Homeland Security, but it will appear up in the House room. This was a great committee. We had Tommy Waller speak. We had Jill Hines speak. The first speaker was Representative Chuck Owens, who is really a superior state representative, and he's been following this legislation. And J.C. Harmon here, he's been speaking. And these are geniuses in the issue. This is not just anybody or any old citizen. These are brains. These are engineers. These are people that have been in security, in the military, and have great past. And they all will introduce themselves to the committee and say what they have to say. And it's mighty strong, and people need to pay attention and pray. And what we need to do, and I think what we need to do is find some kind of invention where we could be EMP proof. But I wanted to point out that members of the committee were very friendly to us, very interested in us, and I feel like we're going to have their support. Also, Jody from Energy came, and he was very interested, and he's very interested in saving the grid as well. And he heard a lot of good things about this company and how they have great customer service and back paying the utility bill, which is sweet, and hadn't been able to do that in 30 years. So
yes, so I don't mean to interrupt you, but you said we need to find an invention that's EMP proof. Have you not been on those live calls with us? Because we have the invention. Wayne LeGrand. Let me finish. Wayne LeGrand, Deidre Bruley, and Charles Smith have the technology to protect the grid. And so that's a big deal. We have that. That they have that.
Right. Yeah. And then so this is very exciting. Yes, I have been in tune, but I wanted you to mention that because you know more about it than I do, and because we're pressed for time, and you know how to explain it better and shorter and more clearer. But that was the Homeland Security, and I'm very happy to hear that. And I want to thank you for your great leadership. You and Tom Waller, JC, and Christy and Katie and Christopher, and all of the Charles and Wayne and Deidre, all on the team has done a superior job, and we're very excited about it. I think this is going to be like world,
Yes, because it started here in Louisiana, and don't forget Juliet; she's a part of that team. Laughlin.
Juliet Laughlin, I want to praise her. She has been really wonderful in the grassroots effort, and I couldn't have done it without her either. So, and I'm sure we have some more. I might have missed because I got a lot, to remember and go through because I'm on the timeline.
Okay.
But that's everything for the Homeland Security entity. 583 by Representative Jacob Landry did pass the committee, the House committee. It still has to go through appropriations, and that's going to be next week. I'll put a call to action out on that. I believe it's 28th or 27th. I can't remember because I have to look at it, and but it's going to be next week. It's going to be House appropriations. That's the next step, and it's got to go through the House, and then it's got to go to the Senate, and then committee, and then the Senate. We pray because time is getting short. Session ends at June 14th, and we need to get through this committee process. The rest of the bills, this comes from Jill, was mentioned 6 of our bills this week. Only 2 passed the committee, and it'll be next week we have some more coming. And the reason is we were in House Health and Welfare yesterday, and we want to congratulate Senator McMaster that passed his Senate Bill 14, which means it bans ultra processed food and to expose with the ingredients in the food or all. So that passed, and I don't know if the next appropriation or the House, because I can't see the chart while I'm talking, but it's the next step should be the House of Representatives, and we're very happy that that bill has passed. On Tuesday, Senator Peace's Senate Bill 46 passed favorably out of the House Natural Resources, and the next step is the House of Representatives, and that's not, we don't want any chemicals in the air, and the planes blow the smoke in the air and makes all those stripes. It looks like a checkerboard, and that's bad. So we want to ban that, and ban what you call, quote unquote, we don't want any chemicals for what you call climate control. And
you're talking about the emissions that they put in the air?
Yes.
Chemtrails. Yeah, they say that you're a conspiracy theorist when you even use that word. Now it is a conspiracy. If when we were children, there would be an emission that was out behind the plane that would evaporate. It wouldn't turn white and widen and stay bright white in the sky. It would evaporate.
There's a lot of poisons like aluminum.
Lots of poisons.
And other chemicals.
That's correct.
Yeah. House Bill 419, Bioattacks and Criminal Acts, and that's Representative Amity, and that exposes someone to self-spreading engineered pathogens without their consent. We want to outlaw that, and that will be in Committee of Administration of Criminal Justice on Wednesday the 28th in Room 6, and we'll put that on my call to action, and we'll have it email the committee, and and just follow my call to action. Next one is House Bill 555, which is called Louisiana Medical Freedom Act by Representative Amity and Representative McCormick. This is a bill that ensures informed consent rights.
All right, listen, I got to go on a quick break. We'll be right back. This is Liberty or Lockdown. Want to invest in gold and silver at cost? Well, you've come to the right place. At Cost Metals. At costmetals.com. You can purchase gold and silver at much lower prices than the leading metals exchanges. Call 985-469-1188 or email huck@wgso.com or flamingconservative@wgso.com. And right now, at Cost Metals has a new coin, the Trump assassination coin. You do not want to miss this coin at costmetals.com.
Chicken. Some of them old bars down in the Louisiana legislature are willing to let teachers teach our kids that all white people are inherently racist, and that Louisiana is a racist state, and that America is a racist country. Them old bars are too chicken to stand up for America. They ought to be put out on the chicken farm.
Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr here on WGSO 990 AM.
Get up early on Saturdays and talk LSU athletics with us. Tiger Rag Radio every Saturday morning, 5 to 7 on WGSO, the community voice of the Crescent City.
You might be afraid to speak out for fear of cancel culture or losing your job. Christian Garrick Show on WGSO is your platform. Noon to 2 weekdays right here on 990 AM WGSO.
I'm pet trendologist Charlotte Reed. Listen to the Pet Buzz airing every Saturday at 6 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Join me, BJ Rust, every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com.
Got a passion for food? Chew on This is now serving up fresh flavors at a new time, Saturdays at 2 p.m. Don't miss
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Colleen Crane. A former secretary of the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is facing bribery and fraud charges. A 5-count indictment was handed down against Jack Monasse for allegedly receiving kickbacks in awarding a state contract to a business that provided online educational boating courses. Sportsmen could take those courses to resolve citations issued by Wildlife and Fisheries. Monasse faces up to 20 years in prison and a $1 million fine. 2 others have already pleaded guilty for their involvement. 5 of the 10 escapees from the Orleans Parish Jail remain at large. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill conducted a tour of the jail to see for herself what improvements were needed. Afterwards, she said having the right locks and hinges on the doors is a top priority.
There's still probably 160 of them, of doors that in some form need to be fixed or, have the mechanisms replaced in order to make them what we want them to be.
LRA.
Feel like no one really gets you and what you're going through? Louisiana 988 can help. The free confidential helpline has specialists who focus on serving the LGBTQ+ communities, connecting you to local resources or just offering a listening ear. Share as much or as little as you want. Most people who reach out report feeling better right in the moment. It's free, confidential, and available 24/7. Text or call 988 anytime.
I'm Richard Funtner, president of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. While I'm a 4th-generation rice and soybean grower, you don't have to be a farmer to be a Louisiana Farm Bureau member. Membership has its benefits, from discounts on car seats, hotel rooms, and rental cars, to access to insurance you can count on to be there when you need. Plus, a whole lot more. We're 145,000 members strong, and we want you to join the Louisiana Farm Bureau family.
Visit lafarmbureau.org. The Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
If you're suffering with scalp irritation or inflammation of the scalp, maybe flaky scalp or loss of hair, there's a new treatment out there called Caravine. Call Spot Isabel on Magazine Street, 504-595-5009. $3.99 per session. You'll need about 3 sessions. That's 504-595-5009. Spot Isabel. Hello, Christian Patriots. Want to invest in gold and silver at cost? Well, you've come to the right place. At Cost Metals. At costmetals.com. You can purchase gold and silver at much lower prices than the leading metals exchanges. Call 985-469-1188 or email huck@wgso.com or flamingconservative@wgso.com. And right now, at Cost Metals has a new coin, the Trump assassination coin. You do not want to miss this coin at costmetals.com.
Negative news got you down?
Tune in at 4 o'clock on Thursdays and turn your life around. Only good vibes.
On WGSO 990 AM.
Hey, Mimi, we love Wednesdays, but we're moving to a new time.
Listen to He Said, She Said, Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
As usual, we'll be discussing and debating the hot topics.
And taking your phone calls.
You can find out who's right. Of course, that's me.
No, wait, Jeff, I'm never wrong. Remember, happy wife, happy life.
So we'll have a lot to talk about on He Said, She Said.
Listen to the Crew of Crew Air Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
Right here on WGSO.
Chef Jamie Gwen here. Tune in for delicious conversation and let me feed your soul every Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on WGSO 990 AM, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Hi, everybody. This is Jackie Gumbo. I'm inviting you to join me every Sunday at 5 p.m. for Uncle Jackie's Gumbo, heard only on WGSO 990 AM or WGSO.com.
Good times never seem so good. I've been inclined.
All right, Susie, we only have 1 minute, so I'm going to have you wrap it up. I have your email.
I gotta go.
Okay.
We had 4 more bills. You got Senate Bill 2, which would remove fluoride from the water, and Senate Bill 19, which will safe FDA-approved medication, self-ivermectin over-the-counter by Senator Fatti. Those are coming up to Health and Welfare this Wednesday, and I'll put that on my call to action. And I want to announce that the phone bill is still pending the Transportation Committee in the Senate. That hasn't come up, thank God, and I hope the clock will kill that, but we still need to be on alert for that. and I want to praise God that we saved the movie bill for the tax credits that passed, and also we have. I mean, that killed the.
That was killed last Monday. That's correct.
That was killed.
So we still have our film tax credits. Yes.
Right. And then at 2:32, it should have been in the House today. I haven't had time to check to see if it passed or not, but it looks like it's going through pretty good. And it's good news for the movie industry. And
it's coming back. We're going to make film great again.
Yeah. Senate is 225-342-2040.
Yes.
In the House, 225-342-6945. And watch out for my calls to actions on my Facebook page, Susie Labrie, Louisiana Sunshine.
Thank you, Susie. Appreciate you. And we can always go to lacag.org and you can do call to actions there. That's Christopher, Alexander, and Danielle. And they have the Freedom Podcast. All right. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and let you go, Susie Labrie. Our next guest here is Betty Marroquin, a political analyst. Betsy Marroquin, a political analyst, businesswoman, and former diplomat from Guatemala. You can see Betsy on X at B Marroquin, MARROQUIN 2021. During the interview, Betty Marroquin, why do you say Betsy? Is that what you're calling her? Is that Betsy, her? Betsy, are you Betsy or Betty?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Good. So I'm going to let them know who you are. Betsy defends Guatemala's sovereignty while expressing her admiration for President Donald Trump and the United States. She discusses issues of corruption within NGOs and alleges that Washington's politicians have exploited organizations like USAID Guatemala. Ms. Marroquin claims that figures such as Mayor Eric Adams, Todd Robinson, Secretary Antony Blinken are implicated in the trafficking of children, have been involved in promoting the LGBTQ plus movement, as well as supporting the illegitimate president of Guatemala, Bernard Arevalo. All right, Miss Betty, how are you today?
So Betty or Betsy? I'm good, thank you. How are you, Betty?
Betty.
Oh, Betty. Like Betty Crocker?
Got it.
Betty Crocker,
Thank you, Betty.
Betty.
So we only have a few minutes between this segment and next segment. So I'm going to go ahead. I had questions for you, but I want you to tell us what's going on immediately in Guatemala, because my listeners are very aware. I have let them know. I've been working with Giovanni Fratti since 2021. And, I travel back and forth to Guatemala often. And so we're aware of what's going on. We've exposed the USA corruption on our end for a few years now. And, we were celebrating when Doge came in and they were actually able to find the corruption and then defund it. That was a huge move. So let us know what's going on today, and we'll move forward from there.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I salute everyone in Louisiana. I've been to Noble a million times. I have family there, so I'm very fond of it.
Wonderful.
Basically, Guatemala is going through a situation very similar to what the U.S. went through. We were the litmus test, the lab rat for all the politicization of justice that you have seen in the U.S. Everything that they've done trying to ruin President Trump, they perfected in Guatemala. Thank goodness they were unable to do so in the U.S., but they were a headache for a long time and still are. And it's this international movement derived from the International Socialist Organization that basically established the roadmap for the left to take over the Western world, the Judeo-Christian world, through taking over academia. That's why your Ivy Leagues are now polluted with communists, thinking that socialism is having social conscience, which is very far from that. And they took the media. That's why your mainstream media, like ours, like everybody else's in the Western Hemisphere, is completely taken over by the left. And they also took the courts. So
yes, they took the courts.
Guatemala has been fighting that for the longest time. But we have President Bernard Arevalo, who was imposed via fraud, a fraud that has been thoroughly investigated and proven is there. That's why there's people in jail for committing the fraud. In Guatemala, in the last election of 2023, and Bernardo Arevalo is basically a puppet of the deep state, which I know you know everything about. And the people, the former government officials, U.S. government officials that you mentioned when you introduced me, they were all very active in pursuing the takeover of the executive office and the legislative branch, to the point that they imposed fraudulently also the leadership in our Congress. So basically they took executive and the legislative branches in both in a fraudulent and illegal manner. Right now we have this man who is basically betraying everything that he agreed to do with Secretary Rubio. We have seen in these past 2 days a lot of activity, air activity. So apparently we finally have some U.S. military presence here, which citizens like me who are pro-freedom, pro-constitution, and our Republican principles and values. I'm not talking about the party, I'm talking about the principles and values that established our republic. We applauded it. We're very happy to see people in fatigues from the U.S. here. And
Wonderful.
we are hoping that Washington will finally wake up and realize that its biggest enemy is within. That means your diplomatic, the people in the diplomatic corps in the U.S. There's so many that belong. There's good ones, but there's so many that belong to the deep state, and the ones controlling the embassy to this day are definitely deep state people, traitors to the U.S., promoting all the principles and values that go against the Trump Vance agenda and against everything that Secretary Marco Rubio has already clearly established that are the pillars of this administration for its foreign policy. They're doing the exact opposite here. And our president here, the fraudulent president, is definitely he's openly in cahoots with all the axis of evil of the Western Hemisphere, meaning Mexico, Colombia, the new Uruguayan, Brazil, Nicaragua, Cuba. He's body with all of them, and therefore openly behaving like an enemy of the U.S. So that's what's happening in a nutshell.
Well, it's good to hear that we have boots on the ground over there. I haven't been told that yet. I did not know that.
Well, we saw some at the airport. There's several buildings around the airport, and there's people that have taken pictures of the Hercules that landed, and so we're hoping that they're here, and we're hoping they're going to stay. And we've seen the helicopters, which are definitely not.
Now, I'm here in the United States, and I've gone back and forth with Rubio concerning Guatemala. He seems like I'm watching him in the Senate, and he really laid into one of the leftist senators yesterday or this week, and he was very sincere, very, very genuine, and actually accurate in what he was saying. So it was strange how he behaved when he went there to meet your president, Bernardo Alvarado. How do you pronounce his last name? Arevalo. Yeah. It was strange how Rubio seemed to be behaving with him. It was almost like he was sent there and didn't want to be there. Tell me what you think.
Well, what I thought, if you watch the body language between Secretary Rubio and Bukele, and Secretary Rubio and the Costa Rican or the Guatemala, they're very different body languages. He seemed, when he first said hello, he's actually uncomfortable. It was evident. And if he was not, he seemed to be thinking, this crook, when he said hello. Yeah. Then it's also very clear He never had posted anything regarding President Bernard Arevalo. He thanked the country, not the president, unlike El Salvador, where he thanked the country and the president.
Oh.
It's very evident. There was nothing in the Rubio social media about his meetings with Arevalo. He only posted one single X, which is also Truth Social, stating that he was grateful for Guatemala being a partner and willing to cooperate. Period. In a nutshell. I mean, that's basically what he said. So now the problem that we have is that he has been obviously, and for logical reasons, so focused on Ukraine and Israel and all the big fires elsewhere, he hasn't noticed what's going on in his neck of the woods, in his backyard.
Yeah. Listen,
And
hold that
Guatemala,
thought.
for your listeners, is very important because we are the bottleneck for drug trafficking, human trafficking, and all the nasty stuff that is trying to get to your country.
Betty, hold that
We
thought.
are
We
the
have to go on a
bottleneck.
quick break. This is Liberty or Lockdown. We'll be right back. $3.99 per session. You'll need about 3 sessions. That's 504-595-5009. Spot Isabel.
Some people in the Louisiana legislature want to permit the teaching of critical race theory in our state. That theory says that if 2 babies are born today, one black baby and one white baby, that the white baby is the mean racist oppressor of the black baby, and that the black baby is the weak, incompetent victim of the white baby. Unbelievable. Those people say that the innocent white baby by his DNA is bad and racist, and the black baby by his DNA is a weak victim who can never succeed. Only a total fool would believe or accept this idiocy. Yet they want to teach this foolishness to Louisiana's young people. Please call your legislator today and raise some sand. Chicken, chicken, chicken. Some of them old bars down in the Louisiana legislature are willing to let teachers teach our kids that all white people are inherently racist, and that Louisiana is a racist state, and that America is a racist country. Them old bars are too chicken to stand up for America. They ought to be put out on the chicken farm.
Hey folks, it's Jeff Cruier. I've been with WGSO for 17 years as host and now president and general manager. WGSO is a community-based radio station, a nonprofit, locally operated. We believe in cultivating local talent and emphasizing local programs. If you have an interest in hosting your own program, then we have some prime spots available for you. Take advantage of this great offer. Email me at jeff@wgso.com or call me at 504-669-6076. Come fulfill your radio dreams at WGSO.
Hello, this is Jack Flake. I want to thank all my listeners and the support I get here at WGSO for making our program, The Jack Clegg Show, successful. Along with that success has come a change in time zones. No, we're not moving to the Pacific time zone, but we are changing the time of our show. Now, for the immediate future, we will be 4 to 6 p.m. every Friday afternoon. Callers are welcome. That's The Jack Clegg Show, Fridays at 4 p.m. Thanks for listening.
All right. So we talk a lot about child trafficking here at Liberty or Lockdown because it definitely is happening throughout the world and in the United States. And, you know, we found out that they were using USAID funds and they were. And I remember when Eric, the mayor, Eric over there in New York sent, I think, I don't know, $70 million through USAID to USA Guatemala. Do you remember that, Betty?
No, that escapes me.
Okay, so anyway, I was working with Giovanni Fratti at the time, and you know, it's unbelievable that you know, we're finding out that they've been trafficking a lot of children through Guatemala. Is it through Guatemala to the USA, or how is it? How are they doing this?
Well, first of all, it's important for the American public to understand that all those caravans that went to the U.S. were definitely organized and financed by someone, because it's not by, random that people knew that they should meet at the X point and then walk all together, and in many cases wearing the same type of shoe, and that they had bathrooms and water and food along the road. That's not random either. Somebody's paying for that. And there were so many people using children to go in, buying children from poor parents. In their ignorance, they would give the child for a little money, thinking and hoping that the child will be raised by some American family in the U.S. once this kid arrived in the States. I'm not criticizing the parents. I understand that when you're poor and ignorant, you do silly things and very bad things without really knowing what you're doing. But in any case, the children went through Guatemala when coming from South and Central America, from the other countries. But there's also a big chunk of Guatemalan children that are missing. Guatemalan children that got lost at the border. And what I understand is that, like I said, first, this was all very well organized. Kids would arrive at the border and then get lost. How come? What's happening with that 1-800 number from Homeland Security, where people could order a child, as it has come up during the Doge and whatnot investigations? So it's been a very well orchestrated. Child trafficking is a huge business in the world, unfortunately. It's the most cruel, despicable thing any human can do. But unfortunately, there's so many cycles in this world paying for that it's beyond my understanding. I'm Catholic, and I can only think of, the devil moving his courts, but in his puppets. But in any case, yes, there's been a huge problem. When you introduced me, you said that I've said that Robinson and Blinken are in the pedophilia ring. What I've said is that allegedly they are. And just so your viewers know, I'm a member of the U.S. press and the Guatemalan media as well, registered member. So I get a lot of info from different sources, and I am hoping that a thorough investigation will be carried out in the U.S. by Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Tom Homan, and all the hogs that are now working in this dream team of a cabinet that President Trump has. There has to be FOIAs. I hope that Secretary Rubio opens FOIAs against these diplomats, these retired diplomats from the U.S., because if they turn out, if what has been said turns out to be true, these people deserve to pay for their crimes, because it's too much,
Yes, it's too much.
It's not just money, it's human life.
This whole child trafficking thing through the different countries, and everybody's focusing on that. But, since 2018, I discovered that they've been familial trafficking our children within the judicial system here in Louisiana. And that it's, not just Democrats. It's from pedophilia has no party boundary. It's both Republicans and Democrats. And they're weaponizing the judicial system, and they're taking good parents' parental rights from them. And they are using the courts to give the alleged familial trafficker all the full rights of the parent, stripping the good parent of the rights. I'm telling you, I know of just 3 personally, but 25 mamas and a couple of fathers that had, spoken up about their children being, familial trafficked. It's either most of these are fathers that are trafficking their own sons, and many of them are Republicans. And it goes all the way up to the top. We have Protect the Children PAC, where Attorney General Jeff Landry, he's now our governor. They have a PAC where trial lawyers send millions of dollars into this pack, and they're not protecting our children. They're actually protecting the alleged familial traffickers. It is a heinous crime, and it is clandestine espionage to the highest level. And we have the receipts. We know who they are. We know who the children are. And believe you me, when I say, God sees all things, and He is protecting these children. We are praying for them right now. They're enslaved to their familial trafficker, and they have been trapped by our own judicial system. Our own judges, who are Republicans, are protecting the alleged pedophiles. There are a few Democrat judges that are doing it also to a little boy. His mother, she's a physician, she's a pharmacist. Her son was stripped from her in New Orleans. There's so many of them, Betty. So there's a lot of trafficking going on, and I believe the hand of the Lord is exposing all this, and it'll be very soon where all this is going to blow up.
Well, I hope it blows up as soon as possible.
Yes.
And yes, unfortunately, people, evil does not escape political affiliacy or professions. There's evil people in every single area.
Yes.
Even within the church, in all the churches.
Correct.
I remember there was a case in Virginia. I lived in the U.S. for a long time, and I remember that legally, obviously, that there was an investigation carried out that in a house in Virginia, in Alexandria, they actually arrested a rabbi, priest, teachers, doctors, lawyers that were pedophiles. So unfortunately, this horrible thing happens everywhere, but it doesn't make it right, or it doesn't make it less horrific that it is so widespread. But the majority of the population in the Western world are not evil people. We're actually a majority that believe in God in slightly different ways, but we believe in a God that
Yes.
sees everything.
Amen.
And the majority of the population in the U.S. and in countries like mine are God-abiding people.
Yes.
And we don't want to see this continue. We want to see these people pay.
Amen. Amen. Betty, you're welcome to come back on next Thursday, because we had first two segments. We had to cover some of the legislative things. So if you have time, I'll send you a new link. We'll bring you back on next Thursday at 5 p.m. here, and we'll continue our conversation. I think the people here in Louisiana need to hear about what's going on in Guatemala. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Betty. The Lord bless you and Guatemala. This is Liberty or Lockdown. We'll see you next Thursday at 5 p.m. The Lord bless you. Hello, Christian Patriots. Want to invest in gold and silver at cost? Well, you've come to the right place. At Cost Metals. At costmetals.com. You can purchase gold and silver at much lower prices.